The red alert flashed across the main screen of the Hwoarang. Captain Tae-ho Kim jumped from his chair. His heart beat fast as he read the message from Earth. "They're here. Preserve what remains." That was all. Then nothing. Every channel went dead. Earth, home to 15 billion humans, had gone silent. "Try again," Tae-ho ordered. His voice was calm, but his hand shook. Communications Officer Yuna tapped at her screen. "No response, Captain. All Earth channels are down." Tae-ho walked to the large window of his ship. The stars looked the same as always. How could everything change in just one moment? "How many humans are out here in space?" he asked. Jae-yun Park, the ship's science officer, checked her data. 27 colonies across the galaxy. About 40 million people total. 40 million out of 15 billion. A tiny fraction of humanity. Now possibly all that remained. "Send messages to all colonies," Tae-ho said. "Tell them what happened." The crew of the Hwoarang moved quietly. No one wanted to speak. Earth had been the center of human life for all of history. Now it was gone. 3 days later, Tae-ho sat in his office. Reports from across the galaxy filled his screen. No ship near Earth had reported anything unusual before the silence. No strange signals. No alien ships. Earth had simply stopped talking. His door chimed. "Enter," he said. Jae-yun walked in, her face tired from lack of sleep. "The Galactic Council is asking questions," she said. "They want to know what happened." The Galactic Council represented 17 different alien species. Humans were the newest members, having joined only 50 years ago. "What have they said?" Tae-ho asked. "Most think Earth was destroyed. Some suggest a natural disaster. Others think we had a war among ourselves." Tae-ho frowned. "And what do you think?" Jae-yun sat down slowly. "The message said, 'They're here. Someone came to Earth. Someone we feared.'" A chill ran through Tae-ho's body. Humans had met many alien species, but all had been peaceful. The idea that something dangerous lurked in the galaxy was troubling. "We need to continue our mission," he said finally. "We're supposed to arrive at Arcturus for the diplomatic meeting in 10 days. Is that wise? Our home is gone. Maybe we should join the other colonies, figure out what to do next." Tae-ho shook his head. "If Earth is truly gone, then we are Earth now. All of us out here. We must continue to represent humanity." The ship Hwoarang entered the Arcturus system right on schedule. The massive space station orbiting the fourth planet was a marvel of engineering. 5 miles long, it housed representatives from all 17 species of the Galactic Council. As the Hwoarang docked, Tae-ho and Jae-yun prepared to meet the council. "They'll have questions we can't answer," Jae-yun said as they walked toward the airlock. "Then we'll be honest about what we don't know," Tae-ho replied. The doors opened. 3 aliens waited for them. On the left stood a tall, blue-skinned Merek with 4 arms. In the center was a short, round Velox with large eyes. On the right was a humanoid Laren, nearly identical to humans except for the silver patterns on their skin. "Captain Kim," the Velox said, "we welcome you in this difficult time." Tae-ho bowed slightly. "Thank you for your concern. The full council wishes to speak with you immediately," the Merek said. "The silence of Earth has created concerns." Jae-yun noticed how the Laren said nothing, just watched them with careful eyes. "Of course," Tae-ho said. "We will answer what we can." As they followed the aliens into the station, Jae-yun leaned close to Tae-ho. "They're scared," she whispered. "Of what?" he asked. "I don't know. But look at their guards. There are more than usual." Tae-ho glanced around. She was right. Armed security personnel lined the halls, all watching the humans. "Stay alert," he whispered back. "Something isn't right." The greatest silence might not be from Earth, but from the truth being kept from them. 5 years had passed since Earth went silent. Much had changed. Jae-yun sat in her small office aboard the Hwoarang. Around her neck hung a silver pendant shaped like the earth. Many humans wore them now, a reminder of what was lost. Her screen showed messages from human colonies across the galaxy. None of them were good. "Enter," she called when she heard a knock. Captain Tejo stepped in. His hair had more gray now. 5 years of leading without Earth's guidance had aged him. The colony on Proxima 3 lost 2 mining stations. Tejo said. The Vilox claimed the territory belonged to them. Jayun nodded. It's happening everywhere. The Marek took over the human trading post in the Sirius system last month. They think we're weak now, Tejo said. Without Earth, they push against our borders. Jayun opened a secure file on her screen. I've been studying Earth's final message. They're here. Preserve what remains. Everyone assumed Earth was attacked. It wasn't. I don't know. But look at this. She showed him a hidden pattern in the message data. There's more information here. It's encrypted. Tejo leaned closer. Can you decode it? Not yet, but it makes me wonder if Earth wasn't destroyed. What if they went silent on purpose? Tejo looked shocked. Why would they cut off all contact with their colonies? I don't know, but I intend to find out. The Arcturus space station had changed too. When the Huarang docked for the annual summit, Tejo noticed more weapons, more guards. Admiral Du Young of Aegis Prime, the largest human military colony, met them at the dock. His uniform was crisp, his face serious. Captain Kim, Dr. Park. Welcome, Du Young said. We need to talk privately before the meeting. In a small room, Du Young looked around before speaking. I've been gathering our military ships. Quietly. The other species are planning something. What evidence do you have? Tejo asked. 3 human science vessels have disappeared in the past month. The Galactic Council claims they know nothing, but my spies say different. Jayun frowned. The Council has always been fair to humans. When Earth was strong, yes, Du Young said. Now they see us as easy to remove. A soft beep came from Du Young's pocket. He checked a small device. The meeting is starting. Be careful what you say in there. The council chamber was huge, with seats for all 17 species. Humans had once sat near the center. Now their seats were moved to the edge. The Vilox leader spoke first. We welcome our human friends in these difficult times. Jayun watched the other aliens carefully. 2 Marek representatives whispered to each other while looking at the humans. A Laren made notes on a screen, hiding the contents with his hand. Something was wrong. During a break, Jayun walked past a group of Laren delegates. They didn't notice her. She heard one say, "The human problem must be addressed before they recover." Another replied, "Preemptive measures are being considered." Jayun kept walking, her heart beating faster. In a quiet corner, she activated her communication device. Sungmin, she called to the Huarang security officer. I need you to check something. She sent him codes to access the station's communication system. Minutes later, her device beeped. Dr. Park. Sungmin's voice was tense. I found messages between council species. They're planning to reduce human territories by force. They're calling it neutralizing unpredictable human elements from galactic politics. Jayun closed her eyes. How soon? Some operations have already started. She looked across the room where Tejo was speaking with a Vilox representative. The alien smiled and nodded politely. All lies. The storm was no longer gathering. It had arrived. 10 years had passed since Earth went silent. Human colonies had formed the Silent Accord, a group for mutual protection. Today, leaders from all colonies met with the Galactic Council for the first time as one united human voice. The meeting room was large and cold. Jayun sat at the center of the human group. Now she was the main speaker for all humans. Tejo, now an admiral, sat beside her. We thank the Council for meeting with us, Jayun said. The Silent Accord wishes to discuss the attacks on human colonies. The Vilox leader blinked his large eyes. Attacks. We know of no attacks. 3 colonies have been raided this year, Taiho said. Our people have been forced to leave their homes. The Merrick representative waved his forearms. These were territory disputes, legal actions. Jai Yun opened a file. We have proof that ships from 5 different council species attacked New Terra last month. 20 humans died. A murmur went through the alien representatives. Some looked surprised. Others did not. This is concerning, the Laren speaker said. We will investigate. Jai Yun stood up. The silent accord demands action now. Not. A sharp sound cut through the air. Something hit the table in front of Jai Yun, sending sparks flying. A laser shot. Chaos erupted. Guards rushed in. Taiho pulled Jai Yun down behind the table as more shots were fired. Security officer Sung Min moved fast. He jumped over 2 tables, landing near a Merek who held a small weapon. With one quick move, Sung Min knocked the Merek down and took his gun. Nobody move. Sung Min shouted. The room went quiet. This human attacked me, the Merek said. Sung Min held up the weapon. After you tried to kill our ambassador. Lies. I was defending myself. Taiho helped Jai Yun stand. Are you hurt? She shook her head, her face pale. No, but this proves everything we feared. Back on the warring, Sung Min showed them what he had found. His search of the Merek's room had uncovered a data chip with secret files. These are reports going back 200 years, Sung Min said. The Council has been working against humans since we first met them. Jai Yun looked at the files. They sabotaged our early space missions. They slowed our technology. Why? Taiho read from one report. Humans adapt too quickly. They solve problems in unexpected ways. If allowed to develop naturally, they will become the dominant species within 5 centuries. They fear us, Sung Min said. No, Jai Yun corrected. They fear what we might become. Another file showed more. Council species have been watching Earth for a long time. They called humans evolutionarily dangerous because of how quickly humans learned and changed. We must tell the other colonies, Taiho said. The silent accord needs to know the truth. There's more, Sung Min said. Look at this last report. Some council members wanted to destroy Earth completely. Others argued for a different approach. Jai Yun felt cold. What approach? Containment. Keep humans busy with small conflicts. Limit our growth. Make sure we never realize our full potential. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. A crew member's voice came over the speaker. Admiral, 6 council ships are approaching with weapons ready. Taiho rushed to the bridge, Jai Yun and Sung Min right behind him. On the main screen, they saw the ships forming a circle around the Horang. They're trying to trap us, Taiho said. Prepare for emergency jump. But we don't have a safe course plotted, the pilot said. Anywhere is safer than here, Taiho replied. Go now. The Horang's engines fired at full power. The ship shot forward, barely escaping as the council vessels opened fire. As stars streaked past the windows, Jai Yun looked at Taiho. The alliance is broken, she said. Now we're truly alone. Taiho nodded grimly. Not alone. There are millions of humans out there. And now we know the truth. What do we do next? Sung Min asked. We prepare, Taiho said, for war. The Horang moved through space carefully. For 3 days, they had been running from council ships. Now they hid in a thick dust cloud near the Ta Ceti star. Any signs of pursuit? Taiho asked. The sensor officer shook her head. No, Admiral. I think we lost them. Jai Yun studied a star map. We can't go to any known human colony. They'll look for us there. Sung Min pointed to a small dot on the map. What about this? It's not on any official charts. Jai Yun zoomed in. It's just an empty system. No planets worth mining. Exactly, Sung Min said. The perfect place to hide something. Taiho nodded. Set course. Full stealth mode. As they approached the Ta CD system, sensors detected something strange. There's a small moon orbiting the fifth planet, the sensor officer said, but it doesn't match any records. Scan it, Taiho ordered. I can't. There's some kind of shield blocking our sensors. Suddenly, a message came through on a secure channel. Korean vessel Orang. Identify yourself and state your purpose. The bridge crew looked at each other in surprise. The voice was human. This is Admiral Taiho Kim of the Hwarang. We seek refuge from Council forces. A long pause followed. Approach coordinates being sent. Follow exactly, or you will be destroyed. The ship moved forward slowly. As they got closer to the moon, they saw it wasn't natural. It was a massive space station disguised to look like a moon. It's huge, Jai-yun whispered. How was this built without anyone knowing? Part of the moon's surface opened up. The Hwarang entered a massive docking bay where dozens of ships were stored. These weren't ordinary ships. They looked more advanced than anything the crew had ever seen. A group of people in military uniforms waited for them. Their leader stepped forward as Taiho, Jai-yun, and some men exited the Hwarang. I am Commander Hanjun. Welcome to Fortress Ta. Hanjun led them through the station. It was a city inside, with thousands of people working. How long has this been here? Taiho asked. 20 years, Hanjun said. We began building it 5 years before Earth went silent. Jai-yun stopped walking. You knew Earth was going to cut communications. Hanjun nodded. Earth didn't fall. Earth chose to disappear. In a large office, Hanjun showed them images of Earth. It was surrounded by a strange, shimmering field. This is the shield. It blocks all signals in or out. It makes Earth invisible to long-range sensors. But why? Taiho asked. Because of Protocol Prometheus. Hanjun touched a screen, showing more images. For a century, Earth leaders suspected the Council was working against us. They created a plan. The images showed massive underground facilities on Earth, new factories, research labs. Earth needed time to develop new technologies without Council spies watching. The shield gave us that time. So Earth is safe? Jai-yun asked, hope in her voice. Yes, and working. For 10 years, Earth has been building ships, weapons, and tools that the Council can't even imagine. Some men looked out at the advanced ships in the dock. And these? Just the beginning. Hanjun said. Earth knew that once they went silent, the Council would eventually move against the colonies. Facilities like this one were prepared to protect human worlds when that happened. Taiho shook his head. Why weren't colony leaders told? The Council has spies everywhere. If any colony knew, the Council might learn the truth. Jai-yun thought of the message she had been studying. Earth's final transmission. It wasn't a warning of attack. No, Hanjun said. It was an activation code. They're here meant the shield technology was ready. Preserve what remains was an order to protect the colonies until Earth returns. Hanjun led them to a window overlooking a massive hangar. Inside was a ship larger than any they had seen before. The Council believes humans are weak without Earth, Hanjun said. Soon they will learn how wrong they are. Taiho stared at the huge vessel. When? The Council has begun attacking colonies. It's time to show them what humans can really do. News traveled fast among the human colonies. The Galactic Council had launched attacks on 5 human worlds at the same time. They called it peacekeeping action. The humans called it war. Admiral Taiho stood on the bridge of his new ship, the Dauntless. It was 3 times larger than the Hwarang and filled with technology that had been developed in secret on Earth. All ships report ready, Admiral, said his first officer. Taiho looked at the fleet gathered around Fortress Ta. 50 ships, each more powerful than anything humans had shown to the galaxy before. Send the message to all human colonies, he ordered. Operation Daybreak begins now. The Merak attack fleet surrounded the human colony of New Buzan. Their 20 warships prepared to fire on the small defense stations. "The humans have 10 minutes to surrender," the Merrick commander said. Suddenly, alarms blared across his ship. "Commander, multiple ships just appeared," his officer shouted. They came out of nowhere. On the view screen, 5 human ships appeared. They were sleek and silver, unlike any human ships seen before. "This is Captain Jinwoo of the Silent Accord," a voice came through. "Your attack on this colony violates all treaties. Withdraw now." The Merrick commander laughed. 5 ships against 20. Destroy them." The Merrick ships fired. But something impossible happened. The human ships moved faster than any ship should be able to move. They seemed to bend space around them, appearing in one spot then instantly in another. "What is this?" the Merrick commander shouted. One of the human ships, marked with the name Thunderbolt, flew straight at the largest Merrick vessel. The Merrick fired all weapons, but the shots curved away, as if gravity itself had changed. Captain Jinwoo sat calmly in the Thunderbolt's control chair. His hands moved across the controls, activating the gravity engines. "Target locked," he said. Firing main weapon. A beam of concentrated gravitational force shot from the Thunderbolt. It didn't damage the Merrick ship directly. Instead, it compressed the space around the ship. Metal groaned and bent as the huge vessel was squeezed like a piece of fruit. Within minutes, 3 Merrick ships were destroyed. 7 more were damaged. "Retreat," the Merrick commander ordered. "Back to Merrick space." As the Merrick fled, cheers erupted from the colony below. Similar battles played out across the galaxy. Human ships appeared at every attacked colony, using technology the Council had never seen before. In the Arcturus system, Admiral Tahoe led the largest battle himself. The Council had sent 30 ships to capture the main human diplomatic station. "They're surrounding us," Jia-Yun said, now serving as Tahoe's strategic advisor. "Good," Tahoe replied. "That's exactly where we want them." He gave the order, and 20 human ships revealed themselves. The battle was short but fierce. The Council forces, surprised by the human ship's capabilities, broke formation. "This is Admiral Tahoe Kim of the Silent Accord," he broadcast to all ships. "The Council's attacks on human worlds end today. Any further aggression will be met with the full force of humanity." On the Galactic Council station, leaders of the 17 species met in emergency session. "How did they hide these weapons?" a Velox asked. "Our spies found nothing." "The same way they hid Earth," a Laren said. "They are more advanced than we thought." A Merrick slammed his fists on the table. "We should have destroyed them all when we had the chance." The Council chamber doors opened. A new figure entered. A tall alien with green skin and 4 eyes. This was a Gen, one of the oldest species in the galaxy. "You fools," the Gen said. "You have awakened something dangerous." The humans were contained, developing slowly under our guidance. Now they know we tried to hold them back. "What can we do?" asked the Velox. "Prepare for war," the Gen replied. "A true war, one that will decide the future of this galaxy." Meanwhile, in the ruins of the battle, Tahoe received a message from Commander Hanjun. "First phase successful," Hanjun said. "Earth is ready to begin the second phase." Tahoe nodded. "Tell them we're ready too." The real war was just beginning. 15 years had passed since Earth went silent. The war with the Council had been going on for months. Some battles humans won. Some they lost. 3 small human colonies had been destroyed by Council forces. Jia-Yun sat alone in her room on the Dauntless. On her desk was the data chip with Earth's final message. She had studied it for years, finding small pieces of hidden code. Tonight, she finally broke the last part. A set of numbers appeared on her screen. Coordinates. She rushed to find Tahoe, who was in a meeting with his officers. "I need to speak with you," she said. "It's about Earth's message." When they were alone, she showed him the coordinates. "It points to a location near Alpha Centauri. There's something there Earth wanted us to find. Tai-ho looked at the star map. There's nothing in that area on any chart. Just like Fortress Ta wasn't on any chart, Jia said. Tai-ho nodded. We'll take a small team. The Dauntless needs to stay with the fleet. They took a fast scout ship with just 5 people. Tai-ho, Jia, some men, and 2 trusted crew members. The ship was small but had the latest stealth technology. When they reached the coordinates, they found what looked like a small research station hidden inside an asteroid. No signs of life, some men said, checking the sensors. But there's power running. They docked their ship and entered the station carefully. The halls were clean but empty. In the main room, they found a single person sitting at a desk. I was wondering when someone would solve the puzzle, the man said, turning to face them. He was older, with gray hair and tired eyes. I'm Dr. Min-Soo. You've been here alone for 15 years. Jia asked. Min-Soo shook his head. No. I've only been here for 5 years. Others were here before me. He led them to a large laboratory. Inside were strange machines and containers filled with blue liquid. This is what Earth wanted you to find, Min-Soo said. The Phantom Protocol. I thought Protocol Prometheus was Earth's plan, Tai-ho said. Prometheus was about technology, Min-Soo explained. Phantom is about people, about what humans can become. He touched a screen, showing images of human test subjects. We found ways to improve humans, make them stronger, faster, smarter. Jia looked closely at the images. People with enhanced muscles, people whose skin could change color like chameleons, people who could heal from wounds in minutes. You changed them, she said. We improved them, Min-Soo corrected. Earth knew that better ships and weapons wouldn't be enough. The Council species have natural abilities we don't have. The Merak have 4 arms and incredible strength. The Velox can see energy fields. So we developed ways to give humans new abilities. Is it safe? Tai-ho asked. Min-Soo looked down. Not always. There were problems with early tests. But it's stable now. Why are you telling us this? Some men asked. Because it's time for the next phase. Earth wants volunteers from the colonies. People willing to undergo the enhancements. Later, on their ship heading back to the fleet, Jia studied the data Min-Soo had given them. Earth planned all this, she said. The silence wasn't just about developing technology. It was about changing what it means to be human. Tai-ho looked troubled. Is this right? Changing people this way? The Council didn't give us much choice, some men said. They tried to keep us weak. Now we're finding ways to be strong. A message alert blinked on their screen. It was from the fleet. Council spies have discovered Earth is still there, the message read. They tried to send ships to investigate but couldn't get through the shield. Now they're planning something big. They're calling it the final solution. Jia looked at Tai-ho. They want to destroy Earth completely. They're afraid, Tai-ho said. They've seen what we can do with just a few advanced ships. They're afraid of what would happen if Earth returned to the galaxy. Some men checked the ship's systems. We'll reach the fleet in 10 hours. Will that be soon enough? Jia wondered. None of them knew the answer. A bright flash lit up space where the human colony of New Seoul had been. Now there was only broken rock and fire. 10 million humans gone in an instant. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Tai-ho watched the recordings in silence. The Council had used a planet-killer weapon, something they had promised never to use. How many got out? He asked quietly. About 2,000, Jia said. They escaped in emergency ships before the attack. Tai-ho closed his eyes for a moment. Then he touched his communication panel. This is Admiral Kim to all Silent Accord forces. The Council has crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Today we strike back. Admiral Do Young's fleet gathered near what remained of New Seoul. His flagship, the Aegis, was the largest human warship ever built. All ships report ready, his officer said. Do Young nodded. Activate the cognition engines. Throughout his fleet, special computers powered up. These were the most secret weapons Earth had developed. Machines that could see a few seconds into the future. They could predict where enemy ships would move and what they would do next. Council fleet approaching, an officer reported. 40 ships, heavy weapons. Do Young smiled coldly. They think they're hunting us. They don't realize they're the prey. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The Council ships fired at where human ships had been seconds earlier. But the human ships were already moving to new positions, their cognition engines guiding them. Captain Jinwoo led the Thunderbolt Squadron. 12 small but deadly ships. They moved in perfect formation, seeming to know what the enemy would do before they did it. Target their flagship, Jinwoo ordered. Gravity pulse on my mark. The Thunderbolts fired together. Their combined gravity weapons crushed the Council flagship like it was made of paper. From the Aegis, Admiral Du Young directed the larger battle. Push them back to the jump point. Don't let any escape. But Taeho sent a different order from the Dauntless. Let some go. We want them to tell the others what happened here. On a neutral space station, Jai-yun met with representatives from species that had not joined the Council's war against humans. She showed them evidence of what the Council had been doing for centuries. They'd been holding back all developing species, she explained. Not just humans. Anyone they see as a potential threat. A blue-skinned alien studied the files. These show they sabotaged our early space program too. And ours, said another. Jai-yun nodded. The Council doesn't want partners. They want servants. By the end of the meeting, 5 more species had agreed to support the humans, or at least stay neutral in the war. Back on the Dauntless, Taeho received reports from across the galaxy. Human forces had pushed the Council back in 12 systems. The Silent Accord was growing stronger. Operation Daybreak is working. Some men said, we've taken back most of what we lost. Taeho looked at the star map. Red dots showed Council territory. Blue showed human-controlled space. Yellow showed neutral areas. Not enough, he said. As long as they have planet killers, our colonies aren't safe. A message came in from Admiral Du Young. The Phantom Protocol volunteers are ready. 1,000 humans have received the enhancements. Taeho looked at Jai-yun. Are we going too far? They destroyed New Seoul, she said simply. We do what we must to survive. Another alert sounded. This one came directly from Fortress Ta. Message from Earth, the communication officer said with surprise. Everyone on the bridge went silent. Earth had not sent any direct messages since going silent 20 years ago. The message was short. Shield dropping in 30 days. Prepare the way. Taeho stared at the words. Earth is coming back. Will that end the war? Some men asked. No, Taeho said. I think it will truly begin it. 20 years after going silent, Earth finally spoke again. All across the galaxy, on every communication channel, the same message played. We chose silence rather than subjugation. We offered peace and received conspiracy. Now we offer one final choice. The shield around Earth flickered and faded. After 2 decades of hiding, Earth was visible again. But it was not the same Earth that had disappeared. A massive ring of space stations surrounded the planet. Thousands of ships moved in perfect formation around them. The Earth that everyone thought was weak or dead was now the most heavily defended world in the galaxy. On the Galactic Council Station, leaders of all species gathered in emergency session. They have been building all this time, Amarak said, fear in his voice. The Gen leader looked at the images of Earth's defenses. I warned you. Now we face a power we cannot match. Avilok stood up. We still have the ancient weapons. We can destroy them before they attack. Silence. The Laren leader's voice was sharp. Those weapons were never meant to be used. We already used one on New Seoul, the Murak pointed out. And now humans are taking revenge across the galaxy, the Laren replied. We cannot win this war. The largest ship in Earth's fleet was the Guardian, commanded by Admiral Hai-Jin. It was 5 times the size of any ship ever built in the galaxy. "All systems report ready," her first officer said. Hai-Jin nodded. She had spent 15 years on Earth, helping build this fleet. Now it was time to use it. "Send the signal to Admiral Kim and Admiral Do Young," she ordered. "Operation Sunlight begins now." On the Dauntless, Tai-Ho received the message from Earth. 20 years of waiting, and now Earth was back. He felt a strange mix of emotions, pride, relief, but also worry about what would happen next. "Earth is launching its fleet," he told his crew. "We will join them at these coordinates." Jai-Yun studied the tactical display. Earth's ships are heading to all major council worlds at once. "This is a full invasion." "Not invasion," Tai-Ho corrected. "Demonstration. Earth wants to show its power. Force the council to surrender." A new message appeared on their screen. It was from Council Space, but sent on a human frequency. "Admiral Kim, this is Laren Representative Kell. We need to talk. Not all council members want this war." Jai-Yun, Tai-Ho, and Sung-Min met with the Laren on a neutral station. Kell was tall with silver patterns on his skin. He looked tired. "Some of us tried to stop the attacks on human colonies," Kell said. "We failed. Why should we believe you?" Sung-Min asked. Kell handed them a data chip. "Because of this, the Gen leaders have activated something called the Terminus Protocol. They have ancient weapons hidden throughout the galaxy, planet killers more powerful than what destroyed New Seoul." Jai-Yun inserted the chip into her device. It showed maps of strange energy signatures at key points in the galaxy. "How many?" Tai-Ho asked. 9, Kell said. "Each can destroy an entire system. They plan to use them on Earth and your major colonies." "Why are you telling us this?" Jai-Yun asked. "Because this war will destroy everything, not just humans," Kell said. "The Gen don't care. They've survived galaxy-wide disasters before. They think they will survive this too." Back on the Dauntless, Tai-Ho sent an urgent message to Earth. Admiral Hai-Jin's face appeared on the screen. "We've confirmed the information," Hai-Jin said. "The weapons are real. One is already powering up in the Vega system." "Can we stop them?" Tai-Ho asked. "Maybe, but not by fighting. The Gen built these weapons with safeguards. They can only be deactivated by representatives of multiple species working together." Tai-Ho understood. "A test." "Yes," Hai-Jin said. "Not of strength, but of cooperation." Tai-Ho looked at Jai-Yun and Sung-Min. "We need to get to Vega. Fast. And we need help," Jai-Yun added. "From the council species." Tai-Ho nodded grimly. "The people who tried to destroy us may be the only ones who can help us save everyone." The Vega system was quiet when they arrived. Too quiet. The massive weapon was hidden inside the system's sun, drawing power from it. The star was already changing color, turning from yellow to a sickly purple. 3 ships approached the star carefully. The Dauntless led the way, with Tai-Ho, Jai-Yun, and Sung-Min on board. Behind them came a Laren ship with Representative Kell. Last was a Vilox vessel, whose leader had also chosen to help. "Energy levels are rising," Jai-Yun reported, studying her screen. "The weapon will fire in less than 2 hours." Kell pointed to a small moon orbiting the star. "The control center is there. We need to land." As they flew closer, they saw that the moon wasn't natural. It was an ancient space station, built by the Gen thousands of years ago. "No weapons," Tai-Ho ordered as they landed. "We're here to save lives, not take them." Inside the station, they found a large central room with a glowing control panel. Strange symbols covered the walls. "Can you read this?" Tai-Ho asked Kell. The Laren studied the symbols. "Some. It's ancient Gen language. This station was built during the last war, over 10,000 years ago." "Last war?" Jai-Yun asked. A terrible conflict that nearly destroyed all life in the galaxy, Kell explained. The Gen built these weapons as a last resort. They were never used. Suddenly, the door to the room closed. A hologram appeared in the center, a Gen with 4 eyes and green skin. "You are too late," the Gen said. "The cleansing has begun." "Why are you doing this?" Taiho demanded. "Humans changed everything," the Gen replied. "For millennia, we guided the galaxy's development. We decided which species would advance and which would be held back. Humans broke that pattern. You developed too quickly, adapted too well. Others now follow your example. The old order is failing. So you'll destroy everything?" Jai-Yun asked in disbelief. "We will reset the board. Begin again, as we have done before." The hologram vanished. The control panel began to pulse faster. "We need to stop it," some men said. Kell examined the controls. "It requires 5 different species to deactivate it. Each must place their hand on a different panel at the same time. We only have 3 species here," Taiho said. Jai-Yun looked at Sungmin. Remembered Dr. Min-Su's lab. The Phantom Protocol didn't just make humans stronger. Sungmin understood. He took a small device from his pocket and pressed it against his arm. His skin changed color, becoming blue like a merak. "The enhancements let us change our biology," he explained to the shocked aliens. "I can register as a merak now." Jai-Yun took out a similar device. Her skin developed silver patterns like a Laren. "And I can register as a second Laren type." "That's still only 4 species," Taiho said. A new voice came from the doorway. "Then perhaps you need 1 more." They turned to see a Gen standing there. Unlike the hologram, this one's eyes showed kindness. "Not all Gen want destruction," she said. "Some of us believe it's time for change." 5 hands pressed down on the panels at the same time. Human, Velox, Laren, disguised merak, and Gen, working together. The control panel's pulsing slowed, then stopped. The sun outside began to return to its normal color. "1 down," Taiho said. 8 more to go." One by one, they deactivated the ancient weapons. At each station, more species joined them. Former enemies worked side by side. At the galactic core, they found the final and largest weapon. As they deactivated it, a new message played, not from the war-hungry Gen, but from the station itself. "Test completed. Cooperation achieved. The cycle is broken." 1 year later, representatives from all species gathered on Earth. For the first time in 21 years, humans welcomed visitors to their home world. "The Galactic Commonwealth begins today," Taiho said to the assembly. "Not built on fear or control, but on cooperation and shared knowledge." Jai-Yun looked out at the faces of so many different species. "When Earth went silent, we learned an important truth. Sometimes the greatest message comes not from speaking, but from listening." The new treaty was signed by all. Even the Gen, now led by those who sought peace. Earth's long silence had finally spoken, and the galaxy had heard.